This is mold. Very concerned. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this. This is all mold. Right here, we put the ones that have the least amount of damage. But there's a lot of damage, as you can see.
Well, so they found us this beautiful big open, I guess it's an old warehouse space, which is now being converted over for artistic purposes, industrial city. I'm a professional objects conservator based out of Baltimore, Maryland. And I've been a professional conservator since the late 90s.
I'm kind of the point person between the artists and the conservators, and just kind of any problems that anybody's having, you know, registering all the art, making sure that the schedule is working fine between the conservators, the volunteer conservators that we have here, and the artists whose work has been so damaged.
So what we're doing is we're setting up places like this, which is just a simple plastic tent, and we're using that as a containment area. So damaged artworks will be brought in, and we put them in there, mostly just to help isolate them from the rest of the environment so we don't cross-contaminate with soiling and mud and mold and whatever. So conservators will be here, and they will assess the artworks as they come in, advising the artists as to what may need to happen.
I moved to my studio in Tribeca in 1969. I've been there a long time. On the ground floor is my painting studio, and we live on the second floor. On the night of the hurricane, about 28 inches of water entered my ground floor studio. Didn't know what to do because I have a lot of paintings. I remember standing on the steps, looking at this water that was in the hallway, knowing it was in my studio, understanding that this is insane. Oh my God, it's all gonna get wet. I don't know what's gonna happen.
The AIC, American Institute for Conservation, is our national professional association. After Hurricane Katrina, they saw the need for a kind of a unified response group to respond to artists in need, or for institutions, museums, historic homes, whoever was affected. A group of us from across the country were trained in a number of sessions, and we became the core of this emergency response group. There are groups of us positioned around the country who can go and be kind of first responders and look at museums, galleries, studios to see what kind of damage has occurred and what sort of resources are going to need to be brought in to help those artists and collecting institutions recover from the disaster.
The water had gone out, so we started to assess the damage, and basically we worked very quickly. A lot of my students, I teach at the Art Students League, came to help. In the dark, carried to the empty third floor of my building about 170 paintings. What I didn't realize was the extent of the damages to the works on paper, which are now housed here. There's a whole big series of my works on paper from the early 80s that have a lot of mold. I'm very sorry about that.
Really, you can think of this as kind of like a MASH hospital triage unit, in that we're looking at things, we're trying to stabilize things, pull them back off the brink of total loss, get them stable, and then people can sit back and, calmly, quietly make long-term plans for treatment. We'll probably have an area for cleaning, so we're going to be doing a lot of vacuum cleaning. We may have some wet cleaning areas if we still have things that are wet with mud on them, so we'll have like shallow baths. Plus we'll also have some repacking, because obviously once something's clean, we want to repack it in good stable materials, and then that way it can be taken back to the artist's studio or home or wherever. The nice thing is we have so much expansion space here, we could end up with a lot of different stations.
With the response that we've already gotten when we haven't even had the hotline or haven't had, this set up, I think it will probably go longer, just because I don't think we know exactly how many artists are out there.
We already have at least 25 that have contacted us. I think we're probably going to see a lot more people coming in.
It's really hard to put into words. I've been a painter based on faith. I've been a painter based on luck. I've been a painter who's always followed my heart, and I've been helped by so many people. And the AIC, and it's a godsend. This is fantastic. I mean, I'm very happy that they're here, and I'm very happy that it's here, and I'm very pleased that the people from Industrial City are kind enough to do this.